Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Islamic or Sharia law. Today's topic is prohibited, that is forbidden, unlawful, and the permitted, that is lawful. This is session number 22. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. The prohibited articles of food are A. Carrion, B. Blood, C. Flesh of swine, and D. That which is dedicated to anyone other than Allah, as said in Ayah 2-173 and 6-146, 5-3 and 2-173. Lo, he has forbidden for you carrion, blood, and the flesh of swine, and that which has been dedicated to any other name besides that of Allah. If at any time a situation arises in which no article food is available and you're compelled to save your life, the prohibited articles of food are allowed to be taken, under the condition that you are really constrained to do so and do not intend to transgress the law or to satisfy your lust. Under such conditions of stress, the bad effects on your personality of eating prohibited articles of food shall be counteracted by your feelings of respect for the laws of Allah, and your personality shall continue to receive nourishment. Such conditions of helplessness cannot be decided by law. The man concerned can only decide for himself. However, for a believer, taking such a decision, it is not difficult. The food of the people of the book is admissible. It appears in Surah Al-Ma'idah, 5th chapter of the Quran, as said in Ayah 5-5. Have you noticed to what extent the Quranic laws on the permitted and the prohibited have brought about a pleasant revolution in human life? Before this, a multitude of restrictions were imposed by the man-made codes of the so-called Sharia, the religious laws, which had strangulated human freedom. The Quranic laws, after laying down prohibition on certain articles of food, allowed all other agreeable articles for eating. The food of the people of the book is also lawful to you, provided it does not contain anything that has been prohibited for you, and they also partake of your eatables. It is obvious that in accepting the eatables of the people of the book, the decisive factor will be that they do not contain anything which is forbidden by Quran. From the later part of the verse, it ensues that its aim is to promote social intercourse. But those people of the book who are not desirous of creating social intercourse with the Muslims, such contacts with them cannot be allowed. Killing an animal for hunting on land while in the sacred precincts, that is the pilgrim's garb, is prohibited. But water game is permitted, as said in Ayah 5-95 and 96. O you who believe, kill not game while in the sacred precincts of Kaaba in the pilgrim's garb. We have declared Kaaba a place of peace and tranquility, as said in Ayah 3-96. As such, exigency of ours surely not only provides such atmosphere to men entering these precincts, but to animals also. If any person intentionally kills an animal within its bounds, the atonement for this act is an offering brought to the brought to the Kaaba of a domestic animal, like the one he has killed, so that it may be used as food by the needy, as said in Ayah 22-28. In order to decide as to which animal is equivalent to the one killed, it shall be adjudged by two just men of relevant knowledge amongst you. Or its atonement is feeding the poor, the extent being equal in value of the animal killed, or fasting equivalent to the guilt. Its measure has been given in Ayah 5-89, that is, fasting for 3 days, or the feeding of 10 indigent people, so that he may taste the penalty of his violating the confines. This is ordained as from now, because Allah forgives what you have been doing in the past. But whosoever repeats the offense will be punished, because a law which can be violated without fear of punishment, it becomes a sermon. As such, the divine system, while prescribing the punishment for law breaking, also possesses the strength for its enforcement. Lawful to you is the pursuit of water game and its uses for food, and its use for your benefit and those who travel. This is applicable to water game as well as the water animals thrown ashore or those left on the dry land after the water recedes. But forbidden is the pursuit of land game as long as you are in the sacred precincts or in the pilgrim's garb. Thus, you guard the divine laws, which is the purpose of your getting together in this center from all sides. Eating the meat of such permitted animals on whom Allah's name has not been invoked is allowed. Has been invoked is allowed. But the meat of animals on whom Allah's name is not invoked is forbidden. Thus it is said in Ayah 6-118, so eat of meats on which Allah's name has been pronounced, if you believe in the divine laws. After this it is said in Ayah 6-119, why should you not eat of the meats of the animals that are lawful for you, on which Allah's name has been pronounced, when he has explained to you in detail what is forbidden, and of those too which are allowed to be taken under compulsion of necessity. This is followed by Ayah 6-121. Eat not of the meats on which Allah's name has not been pronounced. This is no doubt digression from the path ordained by Allah. It is clear from the above commandments that 1. Even from the lawful animals, only those are allowed to be eaten on which Allah's name has been pronounced. 2. Those on which the name of other than Allah is pronounced are prohibited. Likewise, those on which no name is pronounced. When Allah has defined lawful animals, the condition of their being tayyib has also been added to it, as said in Ayah 2-168. Tayyib means things which are agreeable to your taste, sight, and smell are those which are good from a nutritional point of view. It is not necessary that a man must eat every lawful thing. Eating of lawful things is not prohibited, yet from amongst the lawful things, eat only what you like. You're not forced to eat what you dislike. The things which you dislike do not become unlawful if disagreeable to your taste. As nobody has the right to declare lawful what has been declared unlawful, similarly, none has the right to declare unlawful that which has been legitimate. The Holy Quran has clarified this point at several places. Thus it is said in Surah Al-Ma'idah, 5th chapter of Quran, in Ayah 5-87 and 88, make not unlawful the pleasant things which Allah has made legitimate for you, and commit no excesses in violating the limits imposed on you. Exuberance as well as diminution both are equally harmful. The right way is that you remain within the limits laid down by the Quran and benefit from the good things of life. And as such, whatever Allah has provided for you as means of sustenance, eat it in a lawful and agreeable manner, and thus obey the laws of Allah in whom you have professed Iman. It is said in Surah Yunus, 10th chapter of Quran, as said in Ayah 10-59. Sorry. Say, see what Allah has sent down for you for sustenance. You make a part of it unlawful and a part lawful. Say, has Allah commanded you, or do you forge a lie against Allah? In Surah An-Nahl, 6th chapter of Quran, it is said in Ayah 16-116, and say not any fake things that your tongues may put forth and start declaring at random. This is lawful and this is forbidden, so as to ascribe false things to Allah. For they who ascribe false things to Allah will never prosper. In Surah Al-Araf, it has been forcefully proclaimed in Ayah 7-32. Say, who dares forbidding the adornments, gifts of life which Allah has produced for His devotees, and the things clean and pleasant which He has provided for sustenance? Those who do so make themselves partner unto Allah. Nobody can be given this authority. Say, whatever was intended to be unlawful, Allah has explicitly explained in His book. Other than those, everything is legitimate and nobody has the right to forbid any of them. As explained earlier, if anything out of the lawful food is not agreeable to somebody's taste, he may not take it. But that does not mean that it has become unlawful for him. For example, if Islamic government orders a restraint on the consumption of certain articles of food in response to the exigencies of a time, they do not become unlawful. That shall be called a temporary restraint. But those who are great in ranks, their difficulties are also great. The Rasul was ordained not to put even a temporary restraint upon himself. When on a certain occasion he had done so, he was told in Ayah 66-1-2, O Nabi, why did you hold to be forbidden that which Allah has made lawful to you, just for the sake of pleasing your consorts? This is an admonition to you, so that no diminution takes place in the means of sustenance and protection for you, and also because the effects of your deeds do not remain confined to your person, in as much as if you leave a certain article of food or account of your dislike, your followers may think that it is a bad thing in reality. This is why you should be careful. If you have sworn not to take a particular thing, there is no harm, because Allah has allowed dissolution of such oaths against atonement, as said in Ayah 2-25 and 5-89. Allah is your protector. He has provided such facilities in His laws so that one could easily get absolved of the consequences of his lips or omissions. He knows the weaknesses of human nature and as such has based His laws on wisdom. It was so ordained because the Rasul ﷺ had forbidden a certain thing upon himself for personal reasons, but there was a possibility of his followers accepting that thing as unlawful. Thus, as a precautionary measure, the Rasul was prevented from such acts. Such a thing had already happened when Jacob, the messenger of Allah, had forbidden something for himself, and the Israelites made it unlawful for themselves. It is apparent from the foregoing that the issue of lawful and unlawful is of such a great importance that, leaving aside the question of holding unlawful a thing declared as lawful by Allah, even to create such circumstances under which it may be taken as unlawful, is not allowed. It was not allowed even to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself to declare a certain thing as unlawful means a restraint on human freedom. It is obvious that according to the basic teachings of Quran, none except Allah holds this right. Ladies and gentlemen, this session uh, of allowed and not allowed is it finishes here. We will continue after this. Still, there is material under this chapter. Let's very repentfully and very remorsefully pray from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He grants us that true and sincere intention and wisdom to us to understand commandments of Holy Quran and the Sunnah of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and gives us the courage and strength to apply upon us in 100% complete upon us as well as on our societies, countries, and world as a whole. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be our best guide and protector, and He grants us whatever best suited for us. Ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves, your kith and kins, your societies, and your environment as a whole. And inshallah, till next session, Allah Hafiz.